Welcome back, everybody, to another All Things MSP vendor update. And this is an exciting one because this is a brand new vendor to All Things MSP. And we like having new vendors. And of course, if you're a new vendor in the space, please reach out to us and let us know. We want to introduce you to our audience. And also, if you are not familiar with the ConnectWise or IT Nation Pitch It program, that's also a really good place for vendors who are starting out in this space, whether you're just starting out as a vendor period, or whether you're just dipping your toe into the All Things MSP space. Here I am taking ownership of the entire space. That is not the intention. But if you're putting yourself into this MSP space, this weird, wobbly, just crazy place we call the MSP world, that's another great place for you to look for guidance, as well as some cash, because there are some prizes for joining that program and winning the Pitch It contest at the end. Okay, that's enough of the preamble here. I want to bring up Taylor from Palisade. And Taylor, there you go.
Hey guys.
Still getting used to this new StreamYard thing.
No worries. Yeah, Taylor at Palisade. I'm one of the co-founders here, and we're creating kind of the first MSP-focused DMARC automation platform.
Awesome. And this is a space where there's a lot of competition right now, obviously because of the need. If there's an MSP out there who's not managing DMARC for their clients, hint, hint, you really should be, because it affects not just security, which obviously is a big risk, but also a lot of the business aspects of your clients being able to send and receive email, which is critical to their day-to-day. So Taylor, why don't you go ahead and give me a little bit more of the history of you and then the history of Palisade?
Sure. History of me. We can start way back, but why we got here. So about 8 years ago, me and the current CEO and co-founder of Palisade, we've been working together for 10 years. We had a recruiting software. So we would get internships for students all over the world. We'd send them to Malaysia, Singapore, Beijing, London, Barcelona. So we had tons of emails going out. That was our bread and butter. About 60% of our revenue was based on emails. And, we'd be sending 1.5 to 2 million emails a month in the high season. So it was very important for us. It was something that we had to take care of, very, very professionally and well. And this was 10 years ago. Obviously, emails changed. You can't send 1.5 million emails that easily anymore. And we sold that company in 22, and started really digging into it after the Google and Yahoo announcements, I think at the start of 23. And it hasn't changed. DMARC, SPF, DKIM was still exactly the same. The setup was cruddy. It was still copy and pasting records, logging into each tool, logging into each DNS manager. So we wanted to start building something that would fix that problem. And we actually started doing DMARC management for end users, SMBs. So we started using a lot of the tools in the market, and it was taking way too much time. And we started building our own, kind of taking the best pieces from all of them, because we almost became like a mini DMARC MSP in a way, where we had 50 or 60 customers, had to figure out how to organize them in a single place, group them, because some domains were 3 domains per company, et cetera, et cetera. So that's how we started building our software for us. And then we were introduced to the MSP world from a large MSP here in Canada, MSP Corp. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, Eric. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how we were introduced to the MSP world, MSP channel.
Well, and that was going to be my next question, because this is a kind of weird offset niche of the IT industry. So yeah, I was going to ask you where kind of you connected to the MSP community. And it sounds like, not only was it the large MSP that connected you, but also you were being that outsourced service provider for SMBs, which is obviously the clients that most MSPs serve.
Exactly. So that's how we kind of fell into it in a way, because we were building something for MSPs and we didn't really know it. And then, so we're SaaS guys. like you mentioned. So we have never even heard of the word MSP or MSSP, right? And that's through MSP Corp and partnering with them, um, which is moving forward this year as well. Yeah, that's how we got introduced to a wacky world, Eric.
And we love this world, by the way. We
Yes,
lovingly
it's
call it
fun.
wacky and weird.
It's
So
a lot of fun.
for those MSPs who are watching this and don't really understand the importance of email security and email configuration, especially when it comes to SPF, DKIM, and DMARC, why is that so important, especially for an SMB client?
Man, great question. This reminds me of a cybersecurity chat I listened to at DataCon last year. That was kind of our first MSP conference we went to, and I listened to, I forgot who it was, but the big thing that he was pounding on was layered cybersecurity. Not a single tool will take care of every single vector of a bad actor trying to steal money, make money off of you or your customers. So a lot of the tools, especially like the ESGs, it's all about inbound. They're processing inbound. They're using AI, machine learning, anything they can to keep your customers safe. Not a lot of them are really focusing on outbound email security, which is what DMARC does. So this, if you enforce DMARC to quarantine or reject policy and solidify it, it basically makes it impossible for anyone to spoof your domain. So no one can pretend to be you, Eric, from All Things, or me at Palisade, and either email my customer base or my employees saying, hey, we just changed the bank info. Please send your next payment here. We moved off Stripe and went to a different payment platform. So it's a really great, and I was going to say simple, but it's simple in practice and annoying and tough to implement, which is why there's us and so many other softwares. But it's a great way to protect your customers from
Yeah,
one
and
really solid
it's
vector.
a lot about reputation as well, because
Yeah.
if you have loose controls, is what I'll call it, around your outbound email, you are going to get flagged for that
Yeah.
by the large providers, and then your email deliverability is going to go down, which is a huge problem
Yes.
when you're trying to conduct most of your business by way of email.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. If you don't have a demarc policy, I don't even think you can really send emails very well anymore. If you have a open demarc policy or a loose demarc policy, which is P equals none, it means you have a demarc record policy, but P none equals policy equals none. So do nothing. So you're compliant with Google, Yahoo, most big senders, but you're not protecting your domain, which is great and very, very important. But the added bonus, as you kind of alluded to, is better deliverability. So when recipients of your emails see that you went through all this work to defend your domain, lock down your domain, they respect it more, they trust it more because they're like, oh, this person has gone through the effort of protecting their assets, their domain, their reputation. They must be a little more trustworthy than someone who's just throwing out cold emails or spam emails or spoofing emails left and right.
Yeah, and one of the big places that this really is a problem is when you start using online tools that you're sending mail from as you or your company, and you have to account for all those other sources of where email is originating and making sure that they are valid.
That's right. And that's where the complications come from because everyone has documentation on how to authenticate our tool. Nobody helps you bring all the tools into one single location and then helps you build your entire SPF and DCAM and DMARC policy. So that's what DMARC parsers do. That's what we do to help MSPs and help maybe marketing companies that are sending emails from a bunch of their different customers, and really helps put it in a single location, lets you manage it simply and easily, and fix the problem in a quicker and more workload friendly way.
And that's, like you said, that's where a lot of the complication comes in, And my understanding is you guys have created a kind of workbench to help
Yeah.
MSPs work through some of these issues and figure things out when it comes to these more complex configurations.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a really cool thing that is currently in beta, and I'll show you in just a second. But all DMARC report tools are DMARC report parsers. So they ingest DMARC reports, and we do this. We process them with machine learning and AI to present you usually a nice little graph with emails that are passing or failing DMARC, and then we split it, and everyone splits in different ways, kind of help you understand those reports. Because if you've ever seen one, they're a report with 1 to 5 or 10,000 emails, and they're each email is, you've seen the email header, they're
Yeah.
60 lines long, so reading them impossible. And that's something that we hated because it puts a lot of the burden on the tech. I was doing a lot of the DMARC, so I needed a really deep understanding of DMARC, SPF, DKIM to get the job done for our customers. And so we want to tackle it from a different angle, and I think we're the first company to do so. And we're creating, as you mentioned, an AI-powered DMARC detection and remediation workbench, which I'm happy to show you here if you like.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and bring it up.
Cool. So let me move on over. So can you see this page?
Yep. I sure can.
Sorry, I had to. Awesome. I had to drop the stream. So as you can see here, we have domains. This is where you add and view domains. Obviously, you have reports. That's what I was mentioning before, where we're parsing out your DMARC reports into neat little columns. We create a nice little widget. It's basically a one-click DMARC update for managed domains. You just move it along, can update. But what we were just talking about here, and as mentioned, it's in beta, the back end is solid. We have it in a lot of our partners' hands because they're testing it and doing some beta for us. We're primarily working on how we're presenting the information here on the front end. But if you're familiar with the DMARC reports, we can see, queue masters, they're failing SPF, DKIM. You would see that in the reports as well. But you have to look at it and be like, okay, what do I do? So what we've created was this workbench where we're surfacing the problems. So we've ingested millions of emails at this point and saw all the patterns, and we're using machine learning to detect the issue. So if you click on it, it brings up this where there's more information, the specific details of the task or problem. And then the remediation part, step 2, is we're presenting you with next steps. Either, hey, we can skip this task or ticket, or we can start updating it. And then here is where either automation or direct documentation instructions will pop up. So this is a little AI generated to help you give general aspects. Avanan, unfortunately, doesn't have the direct documentation. So we're going to be creating that for you guys one by one. And so as you can see with others, it's a similar idea where we're detecting the problem, showing you the remediation step, and then giving you instructions or automated processes to fix these problems. So for example, we saw Fortress Cyber. I know that they're ready to be moved on in the process. So this is basically saying most of your emails are not failing. And again, we're adjusting a little bit of the UI UX to make it a little more clear.
Mm-hmm.
And then here, right here, you can just, start moving along this process. So typically we recommend step by step, but we do ultimately leave it up to you. So that's how this will basically handhold you through the DMARC process and really take a lot of the workload and mental load off of the techs that are doing this for customers. Because you can imagine if this is just 2 different domains, but if you have 10, 20, 50, 100,
Right.
looking at a report per domain and trying to understand what's going on is a lot of work. And so that's what we wanted to fix. Just give the techs the tools to easily get the job done and move on to the rest of their life, the rest of their tasks, the rest of their tickets.
So basically, if I'm an MSP, I'm going to onboard a new client. I'm going to add their email domains into Palisade, and then I'm
Mhm.
going to use this workbench as kind of my to-do list to not only deploy the initial configuration, but see how that configuration works across all of their sending sources
That's
and
right.
then adjust accordingly. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
And you can snooze them. You can stop them if you don't want to. We're building APIs, so eventually we can connect you guys to, let's say, your PSA. Um, if you want these pushed to your PSA, because ultimately, our end goal is to have it entirely automated through your PSA. So you don't even need to log into us except for setting up. Um, that's our golden egg. So, not another tool to log into, not another tool to look at. Short term, our goal is to make it pretty much unnecessary for you to look at these visualization reports and understand what's going on. And that's what the workbench is for.
Yeah.
So you can just
The
hop on the workbench and then go on right through with your life.
the workbench kind of moves it from the I'm trying to just I'm losing the word right now, but taking it from it's reporting the data to now it's actually giving me prescriptive things to do
Yes,
with
yes,
that data.
exactly. And that's something that we felt was lacking in all tools. Any larger multi-module email security tools, any DMARC specific tools, everyone was looking at the problem through the same lens, and that lens we felt was lacking. So that's why we created the detection and remediation workbench.
Awesome. Well, Taylor, thank you so much for giving us this introduction to Palisade. I look forward to seeing you guys out and about within the industry and looking forward to the improvements that are coming to Palisade.
Thanks, Eric. Really appreciate you and All Things having me on. And yeah, expect to see the workbench live in the next couple of weeks. And yeah, don't hesitate to reach out.
All right. If they want to find out more, how do they do that?
Palisade.email is our website. You can reach out to me direct on LinkedIn, Taylor Tabusa, Tabusa. There's only one of me, so easy to find.
There you go. All right. Thanks so much, Taylor.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it.